If we really think about it, the iPad and the iPad Pro haven't really been able to fully show their potential as productive devices yet. Mostly people are using it for content consumption like Netflix or reading or YouTube, social media, that kind of stuff. It hasn't really been able to shine in the productive department yet. But as a college student, I still picked up an iPad Pro to be a productive device for my needs. And mainly this has to do with the accessories, including the Apple Pencil and the Smart Keyboard, or really any Bluetooth keyboard that you can connect to it. And it really has changed my workflow. So I'm just going to go through some of the apps that I've been using and have really helped me use this device as something that is really useful as a college student. So in this productivity app or folder here, I have a few different apps. So I'm not going to go through all of them or open all of them because this will stop the screen recording, but I'll go through the really important ones. So Evernote I used to use for my note taking. I don't really like it that much. What I need for a note-taking app is basically something that can replace paper and pen. And that's why I got the iPad Pro in the first place with the Apple Pencil, because it has the best writing that I've experienced so far, especially with such a low latency. 20 milliseconds, it's incredible. So Evernote I don't really use. Scannable is is an app by Evernote, and it allows you to scan documents, and it's really useful. It's free, and it recognizes the document when you put it on a flat surface for you, so you don't have to capture it. It captures it for you, and it can save it as a PDF or an image, a whole collection of different scans. So that's really useful if I need to scan my notes, which I can show you, into my note-taking app. The calculator, mainly because I just need a calculator sometimes, and I still don't think the iPad comes with a built-in calculator app like the iPhone does. So yeah, analytics, that's just for Squarespace. I also have a website that I run, and I don't really use this analytics app that much, but I was using it previously, and it just carried over to this iPad. Now, Adobe Acrobat is a PDF editing app. So you can go here, you can upload a PDF, and well, I guess there's nothing here, but basically you can annotate PDFs, you can sign it, and you can even scan from this app, I believe. It's here, guys. Here, there's a scan option down here, which is really useful. Though I admit I haven't used this app that much yet, mainly because I didn't like the annotation, the way you could annotate. I didn't find a way to change the thickness of the pen when you're annotating. So that's why I don't necessarily use that too much. Point of Sale, I also run a business with some other people, and Point of Sale is an app by Square where you can basically enter in credit card information for business transactions or swipe credit cards when you have their mag strip reader. Square so far has been great. We don't usually use too many credit cards to take payments, but it's free, so it was just a really easy setup process. They send you the mag strip for free also. So if you are looking into that, getting some way to take credit cards at your business, you probably already know about these different options if you are. But if you don't, Square is definitely, I think, a great option to try out. Now, Dropbox, also, I mainly just use for my business. I don't use it for school, really. But Dropbox is great because it has integration with Microsoft Word and all the Microsoft apps, and I think even the Google apps, which I don't actually use too much. Now, my favorite app so far is definitely Notability. So you can see some of the documents that I have going on here. So right now I'm doing a little bit of Calculus 3 because I just wanted to learn it. And you can see, so before I was taking my notes on a sheet of paper, and you can see that I scanned these notes. You can see that these are scans. I scanned this with the Scannable app, and from the Scannable app, I just sent it to Notability. When you click Share, like you know how you have these share buttons right here. So if you open up your share button in Scannable, you can send it to basically any app you want that can read PDFs. So I just sent it to Notability, and I made this. And I'll show you a better example. So this is one where I used Scannable to scan my notes. And then here, this is me actually writing my notes. So this is me using the Apple Pencil. So this is my handwriting with Apple Pencil, and this is my handwriting on paper. So you can see there's not that much difference between the Apple Pencil writing and pen and paper writing, which I think speaks volumes about how useful the Apple Pencil is as a stylus, right? As a note-taking tool. It's really, really helpful. I can seamlessly change the color of my pen with just a click. I can show that right now. See, right now I'm using pink, but you have all these options where you can choose which colors you want, the thickness, whether you want pressure sensitivity on or not. It's really seamless, the whole experience. It does cost $10, but honestly, this has been definitely worth it. Like it's already paid off, essentially. And you can see all my notes continue all the way down. Just it's the handwriting with the Apple Pencil looks incredible, and with Notability, it's just a really nice experience. Something else I wanted to point out really quick is that the reason why especially think that Notability is definitely worth the money is because you can print your documents seamlessly. It saves your notes as a PDF. So before I was using OneNote, but the thing is with OneNote, it keeps expanding the width of the page. So when you print it, your writing could expand over two different pages. But Notability doesn't do that. It confines the width in an 8.5 by 11 type of, in 8.5 by 11 dimensions. So if I go here and I wanted to, let's say, print it, you can include the paper on it if you want. But here, I'll show you. I'll just save it as a PDF really quick. So I go to other apps, paper, or yes, PDF. You can change the file way you want to share it to, as a rich text format or as a Notability note. I'm just going to share it and send it to iCloud Drive right here. And I'll just put it on iCloud Drive. So now if I open up iCloud Drive, you'll be able to see that the note is saved as a PDF, right? And the width stays, it stays in an 8.5 by 11 dimension. So that's really, really useful if I ever need to print my notes. It just makes it really easy to print this way. So that alone has made me switch from OneNote to Notability, and without even thinking about it, because it's just been so useful. This is not a whole video about Notability, but I'll just give you a few more pointers about what you can do. So here I have dividers. So sophomore year, I'm going to sophomore year of undergrad, and MCAT preparation. I'm just doing a little bit of MCAT preparation. It doesn't hurt to work a little bit extra. But you can see that you have these different dividers, and within the dividers you have subjects. So here's a practice test that I'm just doing, and I can add more subjects and add more notes within the subjects. So it's just a really intuitive, seamless process in general. Okay, so that wraps up the productivity app. Now let's go into Amazon. So Amazon, basically what I like to do on my iPad is categorize essentially all the apps, and all the apps based on the company that made them. So Amazon, have the Amazon app, which I don't really use that much, but Prime Video, which I also don't use, Kindle, which I do use, and Comixology, which I sometimes use. It's really fun to read on the iPad too. Okay, Apple, then here I have, the GarageBand, iMovie, Clips. These are the kind of things, I don't really use too often. Pages, Numbers, and Keynote I also don't use, because as a college student, I get free Microsoft Office Suite for 4 years, right, as an undergrad throughout my college experience, plus 1 terabyte of OneDrive storage. So I'm not going to be using, in my opinion, are slightly inferior word processors like Pages and Google Docs. I just love the Microsoft Word experience, especially on the iPad. You would think, even though it's not a full-blown Microsoft Word experience, on the iPad, it's pretty good. So if I open this up, that is not information that I can be shared, but let me see. If I open OneDrive, so freshman year, I can just pull up, let's see, I don't know, any one of my documents, here, chapter notes, and econ notes that I took last semester, right? So here's chapter 4, sure, spending, income, and GDP. So I have the OneDrive app. I have 1 terabyte for 4 years, which is amazing. And I just click on this Microsoft Word button up to top, and it opens it up, and I can work on it. See, and then I can type whatever I want. I can add to it, and obviously with the Apple Pencil, you can draw with it, so I can annotate it if I really need to. Circle things that are more important than others, or highlight. this would have been really useful when I was in my writing class when I needed to peer review other people's papers. If I could just write on their document itself without having to type my comments, I think that would have been really useful too. So yeah, so the Microsoft Office suite is amazing. You can use PowerPoint. I don't really use that much in college. Excel I use for my business, which is also very useful. And then OneDrive, OneDrive is like my hub for all my college stuff. Right. This is just freshman year, and I have other documents. But basically, I'm going to create a sophomore year folder now to store all my documents because I get a terabyte of storage, cloud-based storage. So that's just something you can't beat. So if you're in college and you don't, I'm pretty sure most colleges have this kind of deal. You should definitely look into that if you don't use Office 365 because it's a killer deal. So, OneNote is what I wanted to show you. So I still do use OneNote mainly because I have my physics notes on here, and I'm still doing physics right now, so I just want to keep it consistent. But the experience is not as intuitive as Notability at all. So basically, it's like it doesn't even support, from what I can tell, the promotion display on the iPad Pro, which is what makes Apple Pencils so paper and pen friendly. Like Notability does, but it isn't. From what I could tell, OneNote doesn't. And see, also what I was talking about the expanding width is that if I keep scrolling to the right, the width would keep increasing. So that kind of, makes it really difficult to print the notes if I ever need to, or at least share it and look at it as a PDF. I have to look at it on the OneNote app itself, which is kind of, which can get kind of annoying. Still, though, OneNote is still, I think, a really solid note-taking application. The writing experience is still pretty good, but it's just not as good as Notability, in my opinion. And you can see I have all my notes that I've saved on here, physics notes and other notes that I've taken. Because before I got the iPad, I was using OneNote only, because it was the best note-taking app at the time for me. But obviously, like I said, Notability definitely takes the cake for that. Then I have my Google Suite. So Doc, Sheets, Slides, I don't really use any, like I said, any other apps, any other word processing suite of apps aside from Microsoft Office, mainly because Microsoft Office is, in my opinion, just the best at what it does. And so I don't really use those, but I keep them in case I need to open something up in Google Docs or Google Sheets, which isn't usually the case because you can usually open anything up in Microsoft Word. And then Gmail, the Gmail app is really nice. And I mainly use the Gmail app because I don't want to clog my mail app with all my business emails too. So it's just kind of to separate it. But I do use the mail app also for my school and for my junk email, basically, because I can clear that out, but I can't clear out my business emails. I have to basically keep a record of all those. So that's just a quick tour of the apps that I use on my iPad Pro to stay more productive. And, I guess it kind of just boiled down to Microsoft Word Suite, the Office 365, and Notability, and Scannable, because those are all really useful apps. But with the Smart Keyboard, like I said, you can type and write with the Apple Pencil, so it just makes like you have a notebook and a laptop combined into one device, which is really useful for when I'm on the go. This isn't my only machine, okay? So I'm not using the iPad to replace all my computers and just have the iPad as my computer. Okay, I still think that's crazy. But when we do see the release of iOS 11, I think that it'll, completely change the way that we're going to be able to use the iPad as, a really productive device. And so I think that, if you are considering getting an iPad, that you should definitely go for the iPad Pro, the 10.5-inch one specifically because of the promotion display, which makes writing with the Apple Pencil feel really seamless. And I've done a video on the Apple Pencil if you want to check that out too, to see how seamless the experience really is. And you definitely check out iOS 11 on Apple's website if you want to just explore some of the features that they have as well. But that's about it. I might make a whole new video about just OneNote versus Notability, pros and cons of each, and I think that would be really helpful too for a lot of people because OneNote is free while Notability isn't. But aside from that, I think that's it, and I'll just see you in the next video.